Thank you so much. All right, sorry about that. I'd like to call to order our public hearing regarding fiscal year 26 proposed budget call to order at 5:35. At this time, Council, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll? Present.
Present.
Here.
Present.
Thank you, Council. We have an agenda before us. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Ms. Slayton Dixon, would you like to come do a presentation? Did you get the copy? It's on the website.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Basically, we're here for our budget hearing, and the budget pretty much hasn't changed since the last time that we met. You all should have a current copy, which was sent out, I believe, on the 9th of January, I want to say. No, it had to be after the 9th. It had to be a little after the 12th that I sent out an updated budget. The one thing that has changed, just to bring everybody's attention to, there was discussion about the youth council, so that budget has gone to $12,000. I'm just gonna hit some of the items that have actually changed. City events now is at $70,000. And then we actually took, let's see here, the wellness program went to $5,000. Special events, $20,000. And then our contingency now is sitting at $174,440. And that is, this budget does include a 4% raise for all of the full-time employees. And so that has been factored into this budget. And then we've included $100,000 in the public works budget, and that's in their other professional services line item. And that is gonna cover the street sweeping services for the city of Jonesboro. And that should be all the changes since the last time that we met. So we're presenting you with the $8,740,609 balanced budget with the 9 mill rate for FY '26.
Thank you so much. At this time, do we entertain questions for the finance person during our public hearing, or do I go straight to? Your pleasure. Because we can add it on, I was gonna add it on old business for today's council meeting, or we can have discussion now, probably for the sake of time. Let's just hear from public comment, and then we'll have our discussion on the agenda. I can't read David? Yeah, are you here for the budget hearing?
To speak about the canvas.
Okay, so that'll be at our 6 o'clock. Okay. Is there anyone here at this time to speak on our budget hearing? Anyone here to speak on our budget hearing? Okay. I will now consider our public hearing for our fiscal year 2026 proposed budget closed. At this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We are now adjourned. Mr. David, if you would go back. Good evening, everyone. There you go, this time. Third time's the charm. I'd like to call to order the City Council work session for February 2nd, 2026 at 6 p.m., calling to order at 6:02. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Danya L. Sarter,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller, Councilmember Messick,
Present.
Councilmember Alfred Dixon,
Here.
Councilmember Kearney,
Present.
Councilmember Cameron Dixon,
Here.
and Councilmember Fox. We
Present.
have a quorum.
Thank you so much. At this time, council, I would like to do one addition to the agenda. If we could add a discussion of the fiscal year 2026 budget as item E under old business. Are there any other additions or removals from the agenda? Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion to the accept agenda with one added item, a discussion of fiscal year 26 budget as item E under old business.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. At this time, I have no mayor's presentation. There's no regular presentations. We'll go straight into public comment. David Rodenbach?
Yes,
Please. How are you? Can you pronounce your last name for me?
it's Rodabaugh.
Rodenbach.
Rodabaugh, yes.
Rodenbach.
I ran for agriculture commissioner last election. Some of you might even have voted.
Okay, that's why,
I didn't win though, so unfortunately. I'm here to say thank you for what you're doing here about the cannabis legislation. Stopping criminalizing people over this plant is a huge first step in bringing about sensible cannabis legislation, which is what my organization, which is Grassroots Association, we support fully the idea of whole plant, full plant. And the reason is, when we do that, we're able to bring things like wood. This, and I just brought this as a sample, and I'd love to pass it around if you'd like to see it. But this is hemp wood. This is actually completely renewable resource that as soon as we understand that how we're legislating cannabis is wrong, and it should be looked at as a natural resource, which is part of the reason I said I ran as ag commissioner. You get quality products like this and locally grown, homegrown businesses that are producing this renewable resource and beautiful for furniture or wood or even desks and tables and things like that. So again, I'm really here to say thank you for stopping putting people in jail over this plant, and also offer my time to come and speak or work with any one of you that would like to know more about cannabis and how it could help your economy as well as the ecology, because it even cleans soil. It does things to the soil that people don't get to use or take advantage of because they're worried about being criminalized by being called cannabis instead of hemp. So that description is criminalizing it and stopping us from many, many benefits that I hope your community is leading the charge on. And again, I'd like to offer my services time is it to just come down and talk with anybody if you have more information or you'd like questions. I'd be more than happy to answer them.
thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Would anyone like to see
Right
the
about.
samples or anything? No? All right.
I won't get in trouble.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Corey Lowe. Devin Franklin. Devin, do you mind, can you give me a zip code?
30303.
You state your name and your address. I didn't even,
Yes,
just make
my-
sure when y'all come up here, be courteous. You got 3 minutes to talk and just be polite. There you go. Forgot to read that part. Go ahead.
Good evening, council members. My name is Devin Franklin. I am Senior Movement Policy Counsel at the Southern Center for Human Rights. We are a nonprofit law firm located in the city of Atlanta, and we work towards equality, dignity, and justice for people impacted by the criminal legal system in the Deep South. Among other things, our mission is to fight for a world free from mass incarceration, criminalization of poverty, and racial injustice. In my role as policy counsel at the Southern Center, I work with and monitor the roles citizens and cities and counties in Georgia play in addressing issues that touch upon our mission. And I am here tonight to speak to and in support of amendment to the ordinance code section 46-8, that of course being the decriminalization of marijuana. In addition to my current role at Southern Center, I'm a former public defender. I worked 12 years in Fulton County. And I can tell you that I also cut my teeth here as an intern for Judge Linda Cowan in state court. And I can tell you that in my personal experiences, I have seen the harms that flow from the prosecution of marijuana. Tonight, I would like to offer 3 arguments in support of decriminalization. The first being that it reduces arrests and incarcerations, obviously, and the costs that flow from it. The obvious part of this is that without police having to give significant attention to the enforcement of marijuana laws, there are more significant resources that can be committed to other public safety measures within cities and counties. Additionally, decriminalization addresses the racial disparities that are present in the enforcement of marijuana arrests. Decriminalization, of course, speaks to the fact that historically Black and brown people have been arrested at significantly higher rates for marijuana possession than white persons, and that is despite similar levels of usage. Finally, I would like to speak to the collateral consequences of marijuana prosecution. Lessening criminal penalties prevents individuals from facing significant legal barriers and other barriers. Those are barriers that include housing, that includes employment, that includes educational opportunities, the inability to secure scholarships, all for marijuana possession. Even getting your license suspended and not being able to travel to work, or if you do so, risking prosecution for driving on a suspended license. None of these things, the prosecution that of marijuana presents, outweigh these other harms. And I encourage you all, and I'm encouraged to see that you all are even having a discussion about this, and I hope to see that you all pass it tonight. If I can be of any further usage as it pertains to any other public safety or social justice issues, I would love to be in dialogue with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Hunter Knight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hunter Knight, and I currently reside in Lawrenceville, zip code 30043. I'm coming in today as a concerned citizen and a fellow Georgian, coming to show my support for the amendment to 46-8. I really love what has the potential to be done here. I was very present for the type of same work we did here in Athens and other similar municipalities in the state of Georgia. And I guess I'm coming to give my little anecdote as someone who has not only been on the receiving end of these type of penalties we've seen in current state law with how we treat the plant, but also as just a concerned individual who has had other loved ones who haven't had the same privileges I have to get back up on their feet when they encounter these types of issues with cannabis possession. I personally believe that we all have a right to... I personally believe a plant shouldn't ruin your life. And while I know that there's only so much the city can do, this decision we're making here tonight is a small step in a much bigger journey that the state needs to take to really do what's right here. The person before me couldn't have said it better myself. So I'm not going to come with all the statistics at the moment. Again, I'm kind of just coming from work because I'm really just happy to be here and I want to be present for the type of decision we're making today, because it's historic. And I just want to thank you all again for taking the time to have this conversation. And please know the decision we make today will be a deciding factor for not only where the state goes, but other municipalities in the state go as well. And it makes work for the work activists like myself and the people speaking before and after me so much more, a lot more easier, just knowing that we know this is what Georgians need. And I'm just glad to see this legislation going in the right direction. And hopefully we all make the same great decision today. And thank you again.
Thank you so much. Avira. Did I pronounce that correctly? A-V-I-R-A?
It's Aviva. I have horrible handwriting.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
your fault.
A-V,
Same backwards and forwards.
okay. P.O. Box. Can I get your zip code, please?
30031.
Okay.
Thanks for having me here today. I have an organization, a grassroots education organization called Georgia Hemp Economic Revival Organization. And I think, like the speakers before me would agree, it's downright un-American to lock someone out for smoking a joint at this point. We have pop icons out there, like James Dean smoking a cigarette, Bob Marley smoking a spliff. And so if we're gonna have these hypocritical messages, we have to admit we've got Pied Piper there just drawing people in to get locked up. And that is so unfair and confusing to our general public and for our public safety. In addition, we already have a legal medical cannabis program, so the officers, if they're confused about the industrial hemp products I brought in today, they're gonna be really confused about the legal hemp products and the legal medical cannabis products that many of our citizens are using. And so they can use their subjectivity to really ruin people's lives, and it really makes me sad, and I know personally many lives that have been ruined from this. And so I thank you for considering decriminalizing, because our state is very far behind, but I think we have about 18 cities now that are decriminalized, so I'm very hopeful that if we all follow suit, then we will protect Americans and our tourists, because I think we're maybe one of 10 states left that haven't decriminalized. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yolanda Bennett. Okay. Chris, I'm gonna let her come in for a second. Chris, can you spell your last name for me?
Q-U-I-D-O-R-T.
Q-U-I-D-R-T.
D-O-R-T.
D.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and
Chris.
Zip code 30274.
Okay.
There we go. So I'm a patient of the oil program, but you know, so what the cannabis whole plant does is it allows me to stay out of pain, pain chronically, but also it's helped me. So I used to be addicted to all kinds of like Xanax and all. I've been able to use it as harm reduction also in recovery, because in other states have actually used it, and it's helped with opiate addiction and all that. So on that form, like we have RSO in our program, but it's like a 5%. So I got like non-cancerous tumors, and I've been able to use the plant to actually shrink tumors. But 5% is not going to shrink it. So the higher percentage of the whole plant or whatever is I'm able to use the RSO and shrink tumors. So with it being decriminalized, that makes it a lot easier. It's still not access like it should be, but I've also been in trouble in the past, and it's really frustrating to be able to, I know that I've been able to use it in harm reduction, and, there's other harm reduction that has actually been worse for people, like methadone and Suboxone is actually worse when the cannabis is actually in the oil form can be used to get people off the heroin and all that stuff. So that's my percent.
Thank you, Chris. Sharita, is that Cherry? Okay.
Hello. My name is Sharita Cherry, and I have a business in Jonesboro. I have the beauty school. We've been here for 3 years, and we just secured a location at West Fayetteville, but our address is 8712. The challenge that I'm facing is that in order to have my business license in Jonesboro, Secretary of State says I must have a sign. But in order to get the school license to open, Secretary of State in Georgia says I have to have the sign outside. In order to get a business license in Jonesboro, I cannot have the sign outside. So what's happened is I'm not passing my inspection because my sign is not outside. Then he fined me because I get funding. So I get funding from the VA and Workforce Georgia. They have to have the sign. So we were like, okay, we can put the sign up, put the tape around and take the sign back down. We were kind of facing that. So Friday, the inspector came out. He's been coming out like every day. But Friday he came out, you gotta have a sign. I'm like, but we're trying to get our inspection, so we're not passing. So I'm facing, I can't get a license from you all in Jonesboro, and I can't get a license from the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger's in Macon. What happened with the first location down there, I knew people up there, but they've all since retired. So they were like, go take a picture of your sign, send it into us, and we'll go on and pass it so you can get your business license. Then we will come back out. But that time has expired. So now, I was up there today, like, okay, so what am I supposed to do?
What is your business address?
It's 8712
What street?
Terra Boulevard.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's been empty for like a very long time. So when I came here to present it, you all was like, oh, that's gonna be nice, someone's gonna be in there now. But I can't be in here if y'all don't give me no license.
Okay.
So I just kind of think the state needs to get on the same page with the city, or the city needs to get on the same page with the state. And even when the lady came out, she was like, Jonesboro's really the only one we deal with when we deal with something like this with our salons and our beauty schools, drivers, education schools like that. It's just kind of hard for us to pass it.
Okay, so make sure I'm clear, you gotta have a sign to get,
For them to come out and for the VA to come out, I have to have a sign.
gotcha, okay.
And then for me to have a license through the business with you all to operate as a business, you cannot have the sign up.
Okay. Let me do a little research and then, I will have Shelby, before you leave out, get some contact information for you.
Okay, thank you so much for listening.
Thank
It's been about a month, we're trying to get open, and I just really need some understanding of how to do this.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back down. Marion Mitchell. Hey, Marion.
Hey everyone, good evening. My name is Marion Mitchell III, and I came to speak about the decriminalization of cannabis in the city of Jonesboro. I wanted to start off with a story. My name is Marion. I went to the illustrious Fort Valley State University. I have been able to attend the University of Mizzou, and I feel like I'm a good role model to all my little cousins. I'm a good role model to all my other family members who's out there trying to get it. And when I was at the University of Mizzou, I was struggling with school. I was like, maybe this is what I want to do. Maybe I want to go pursue this degree. And while I was up there, they legalized cannabis. And when they legalized cannabis, I was like, let's just try something new. Let's go out on a whim. And I got a job at a dispensary. And at the dispensary, I was working with not just people coming in trying to get high. I was working with people who are patients, people who are in pain every day. And I think of a certain patient that comes to mind every time I go back in my head and I think about my time in Missouri. It's a man named Dave. And Dave had a triple bypass heart surgery. And during his triple bypass heart surgery, Dave's doctors tried to put him on Vicodin, Percocets, all of these painkillers. Chris just spoke about it. And Dave said, in my youth, I was addicted. After I broke an arm, I was addicted to all of these different painkillers. And it touched me when Dave came into the store and said, hey man, I'm looking for some cannabis because I want to use that as my painkiller. I want to use cannabis as my pain relief. I want it to help me heal. And I believe that cannabis is a healing plant. I don't believe people should be going to jail for cannabis. Half the country is legal in cannabis. And I'm not coming up here saying, hey, we need to legalize, but we do need to at least decriminalize cannabis because it ruins people's lives, and that's telling me that people like Dave are criminals, and he's not. Dave is just a man who was hurting after he had to go to surgery, and they opened up and cut open his chest. But that's all I had to say, y'all. Y'all have a blessed one.
Representative Eric Bell.
There was a remark session for you, but if you would like to do public comment as well, love it. Okay.
Greetings, Madam Mayor, Jonesboro City Council. Congratulations to all the new members for your victory, and all the old members that continue the work that you do for the great city of Jonesboro. I'm here to support of the decriminalization of marijuana, cannabis, hemp, whatever you may call the leaf. I'm lucky. As a youth, I actually got pulled over with marijuana when it was a felony, and a plane had crashed. I kid you not, a plane had crashed in Henry County at one of their smaller airports, and the cop said it's your lucky day. At that point, I could have lost my scholarship to Morehouse College. I was a straight A student. I was part of the Elite Scholar program before Elite Scholars had a school. And my future would look totally different had I been penalized for that. And I come to say that because there's a lot more little girls and little boys that probably have straight A's and look just like me and act just like me. But they'll be penalized and their futures will be in jeopardy if we don't act now. As the young man stated before, across the nation, decriminalization is going. Legalization is going. And in the state of Colorado, there was the only state that didn't have a recession during the Great Recession because the revenue they received from marijuana and cannabis sales. So without getting long, I humbly ask that Madam Mayor and the council favorably move this piece of legislation for those who are looking for harm reduction, safe access, and just a better pursuit of life. Thank you, and I yield the podium.
Thank you so much. Yolanda Bennett.
Good evening, all. My name is Yolanda Bennett with the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society. We are a 501c3 organization. And what we do is, I had to go ahead and write this down so I can stay on track, because I tend to veer to the left. But what we do, we work with patients and families across Georgia who are navigating an extremely limited medical cannabis program. And I'm also a former correctional officer, disabled truck driver, and I wasn't always pro-cannabis. But I always use that term, or my motto, you don't want to have to need this, but just in case you do, let's hope it's available for you. Now, I want to make this clear directly. We totally support this decriminalization because it's a plant. This plant had been criminalized because of, it's in the history books, Harry Anslinger, 1930. Or was it 1928? Well, like I said, Harry Anslinger. Could have been 1928. But anyway, sorry. But regardless, the reason why we want to be concerned about this being decrimmed, Clayton County is decrimmed. We've heard about Clayton County jails. They're overcrowded. A whole bunch of stuff. You can alleviate this while people don't have to be worried about crossing out of one region to another in the county. You know, you cross out of the county into the city limits, get pulled over, you're at risk of going to jail. Why not remove that? FIFA's coming. Let's go ahead and alleviate that. You have some large cities like Athens. Their fine is only $35. They wanted to make it $1, but they couldn't. So what I want to say is, basically, possession of small amounts of cannabis has already been decriminalized. And aligning with local policy matters because enforcement should not depend on a zip code. Each year, hundreds of thousands of people nationwide are arrested for simple possession, even though these cases are overwhelmingly nonviolent. In jurisdictions that eliminate jail time to low-level possession, arrests decline, court dockets shrink, and police resources are freed up for serious crime. That also matters. Clayton counties, well, I'll skip down to this part right here, okay. From public health perspective, cannabis is widely recognized as a harm reduction tool. Harm reduction is about reducing negative outcomes, not encouraging them. Cannabis has been used for healing for thousands of years.
Time.
All right.
Thank you so much. All right, this time we'll go into old business. Madam Clerk, would you like to call the first item?
Yes, ma'am. Council to discuss variance application 25 VAR 001 submitted by Max Couton for properties located at 262 and 294 South Main Street, parcels number 060-32A B002, 060-32A B002Z, and 060-32A B006, Jonesboro, Georgia 30236, within the mixed-use district and the Gateway South District. The properties consist of 29.14 plus or minus acres. The request seek relief from the Gateway South District's exterior architectural design and material standards specifically related to porches and balconies.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you is for relief from the porches and balconies requirement as required by our Gateway Overlay District. Staff recommends denial of the applicant's request as submitted. However, staff does recommend approval of a modified approach, which is indicated in the agenda packets as proposed.
Does this one have to have another hearing?
Yes.
It will have to have another hearing. Council, any questions? Can you, Mayor, Councilwoman Messick?
Thank you. The pictures that are in here, are these the updated pictures, or are these the ones that they presented back last time they were here?
These are updated pictures.
Okay. And if you read this variance, are they now asking that we do away with all the balconies and all the patios? Or is there just a certain number of them that they're asking for us to consider?
Yes, it's a certain number that they're asking to consider. So their original request was to eliminate them completely, but they've since revised the plan to where they have them throughout the development.
Okay, these pictures are I don't see a difference from the last ones that were presented.
There's a little difference. I think what I was looking for, and I might have looked at the previous one, what's the exact number of balconies? It's approximately 200 units, so what's the refined number?
If we have the applicant present, can I have them come up and speak to that?
And that needs to be stipulated in whatever variance we decide.
Madam Mayor and Council, good evening. Edric Harris with Presswood Development Company. So we do have a total of 196 units, and what we're doing now, all balconies on all upper floors will be in place. So there's a, a patio condition on the bottom floor at the parking area. So we're requesting that those be removed because they conflict with a fire requirement. So there's a hose distance, or it may not be the hose distance, but there's a distance requirement that we can't meet both requirements. You gotta meet one or the other. Typically, fire takes precedent over which one we need to meet. So I think it's roughly 20 ground floor patios that have a conflict. And so those will not have the patio, but all balconies, which are the upper levels, we're putting in 100% of the balconies.
So if I do my math, 176 units will
Yes,
have
ma'am.
balconies.
That's, well, no. There's some patio units on the front levels that are on the bottom as well. So that will have to come out of the total balcony number. I don't have that exact number.
So,
though.
but I'm hearing you say everything on the second and third floor will have balconies.
Yes, that's correct.
That's what I'm wondering.
So that is the change from previous time where we were requesting, I think it was roughly 50% balconies. We went back because we modified a lot of stuff. We want to ask for as few items as possible. So basically, we're putting balconies everywhere a balcony can go, which is every upper floor unit. And the only thing we are asking for is on the bottom floor at the parking lot area is to remove the patios.
And when you say patio, just so you all know, he's talking about that cement padding.
Correct.
So there'll be no doors coming out, it'll just be straight landscape from up under the window.
It'll be landscape there. I think there may be a
I see the
door
picture there.
there. Let me double check to make sure I speak correctly on that bottom floor. There are some doors on that bottom floor.
Yeah. Ms. Kuta, I would just ask that the exact numbers be spelled out in your condition for approval. Not a percentage, but the exact numbers. And we understand that balcony does only exist on a second or third floor.
Right.
Council, any other questions? Are y'all okay with that? Just clarification before next week on that?
I got it.
I have a question.
Councilwoman Fox.
What I would like to know is, what are you doing in substitution for the residents that will not have balconies? Are you adding green space for them? How are they going to proceed?
Right, so there's extensive green space, different common areas that we will have. I think from our last meetings last year, we're adding in a wellness area as well. So we'll be amenity rich within the community. But as far as those units, they would ultimately use more of the community space areas where we'd have picnic areas and grills and things like that.
And I do want to add also, Councilwoman Fox, there are people that prefer a bottom level without access for safety, like seniors and things like that. So I think the numbers are okay, but and those units on the first run, 1, 2, and 3 as well.
That is correct.
Okay. And there are no doors.
Let me double check on the no doors. I think there are some.
That's
points
what I
of
was confused
exit,
at.
and I think that's a requirement for
What I
safety
mean by
for
doors
access.
from a person's house.
I think there are. But
So if there's a door coming from their house, I don't want them to open the door and they go straight to grass. That's what I was asking.
we don't have a sidewalk. It wouldn't just go straight to grass. There would be a sidewalk condition. So you
So
would go
there is
out.
door, okay. So those are,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
need specific numbers. By
yes,
now,
ma'am.
we should be able to say there
Sure.
are X amount of units on the bottom floors, how many will have door access, and I want to understand, so your door access will just have a sidewalk that walks them down.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'll put together a chart for the next meeting and get it prior to the next meeting. We'll
If we
have
can
that
get it
chart.
by
We'll have
Wednesday,
the
that'll be
numbers.
great.
We'll do. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, is there a list of amenities as well that has been added? Because I didn't see that. We weren't
So-
part of the original conversation.
So I think we can go back and pull that for them.
Okay. I can do that.
I think it's a computer lab, it's a common area, a wellness center,
And then we have community gardens.
community garden, and then the playground.
Yes, that's correct.
But we'll double check, I think that's all that. Councilman D. Dixon?
Yes.
A. Dixon.
A. Dixon, right,
A.
right.
Dixon, go ahead, take a look.
Thank you all, thank you staff for the detailed report and analysis, and thank you all for coming back and making sure that our residents had a place for peace.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. As you speak about the bottom floor, us having to eliminate those balconies or those patios, as Councilwoman Fox stated, what are we replacing that with? So even if they don't have those balconies or those patios, would they be extended office space? Would they still be able to utilize that space as their neighbor upstairs has?
Well, basically, the way they'll come out is they'll come out, and we're still working on grades and elevations, but it will essentially be either a step or a flat entry out with a sidewalk to the parking area in that condition, because part of it, I think, there may be a diagram in your package that shows with a fire truck and it shows the distance. Right. So once that space gets brought in, the reality is if we didn't have to have that space, you'd have the patio. So essentially, the trade-off is that we do have a lot of common spaces there at the community that will be jointly used. Those bottom floor units, I'm pretty sure it's 20, but we'll make sure we have those exact numbers in a chart. Unfortunately, that specific number of units won't have, I guess, a patio.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't affect the square footage of if that's what you're asking. It doesn't impact the square footage of the internal square footage of the unit. If you all look on page, there's a really good diagram if you want to compare it. This isn't numbered for some reason, but it's right after the conceptual rendering. You'll see the section diagrams. You keep your finger on that as other ones come up. I think this is a good reference for some of the other variances. So, Ms. Akuta, you'll get specific numbers, and if it is approval, we would ask that it's considered based on exact numbers. Okay. And that the record reflects that. All right, Madam Clerk, next one, please.
Next item, B, 25 VAR 003, council to discuss variance application 25 VAR 003 submitted by Max Couton for properties located at 262 and 294 South Main Street, parcel number 06032A, B002, 06032A, B002Z, and 06032A, B006, Jonesboro, Georgia 30236, within the mixed-use district and the Gateway South District. The properties consist of 29.14 plus or minus acres. The request seeks relief from the Gateway South District's exterior architectural design and material standards specifically related to sidewalks.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you, so the original request from the applicant was to reduce the 2-foot sidewalks from 2 feet to 0, but they have since provided a revised site plan. And with that, staff is recommending approval with the conditions listed in the packet.
Thank you so much. Next.
Any questions? I'm sorry.
All right, letter C, council to discuss.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So these are for, there was a conditional or variance requested, I believe, for all of the sidewalks and then for like 2 particular sides of the project. Is this the 2 particular sides of the project or all the sidewalk space?
All of the sidewalks. So that particular one was those 2 pinch points. The applicant has withdrawn that particular variance request for the 2 pinch points.
And can you elaborate a little bit more on the
If you go look at the picture.
I see the picture, but before, I guess I thought the picture was what they were asking for, so what's the difference now?
So this is actually still related to the fire area where you're reducing the space down. So you essentially have, instead of a sidewalk that runs, I guess it would be alongside horizontally with the building, you just have the vertical strips back out to the parking lot because of the space requirement. There's not enough space along the inside of the buildings by the parking lot to wrap that sidewalk around. But we still have the sidewalks throughout we're not removing every sidewalk on the property. It's just in that area where we have the fire access piece.
That's the pinch point.
No, the pinch points, we were able to resolve those with the added land. So this is just in the area where there's the fire width requirement. If you go back to that same diagram, there's I guess it's.
Approximately how many square feet, how many linear feet long are those areas impacted?
It is, I can get you the linear feet. That may be something I could get for you.
Thank you for bringing it up. I was interpreting it the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm trying to go to the diagram here. So the way it is designed, there's actually supposed to be another, I hate to do it this way, but I know you have the diagram there, but it's the areas inside the interior of the building here. There is basically a platform, but I think the way it is described as the sidewalk requirement for the city, it doesn't match that. But there is a walking path that's there, but it doesn't meet, I guess, the city requirement in those areas by the parking lot.
So is there a sidewalk around this whole property?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. I'll get with you, Faith, if you recommend it, I think it's okay. All right, next.
All right, letter C, council to discuss conditional use permit application 25 CUP 009 submitted by Max Coopton for properties located at 262 and 294 South Main Street, parcel number 06032A, B002, 06032A, B002Z, 06032A, B003, and 06032A, B006, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30236, within the mixed-use district and the Gateway South District. The properties consist of 29.14 plus or minus acres. The request is for a multifamily development.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. The item before you is for conditional use approval related to the previous 2 items. So when this item was originally presented before Mayor and Council, I believe back in 2024, it didn't include 2 additional parcels. But since the applicant has reworked their site, they now have to include those 2 parcels in order to be a part of this project. So with that, staff is recommending approval.
Thank you. And again, all 3 of these items require a hearing next week. Okay, perfect. Next, please.
Next, item D, council to consider approval and adoption of a comprehensive nuisance abatement ordinance and repeal of existing nuisance and unsafe building provisions currently codified at Chapter 36, Article 3, nuisance, Section 36 through 81, through 36 81-120 in their entirety, and Chapter 6, Article 4, unsafe and dilapidated buildings, Section 16 through 71 through 16 through 91.
And, Attorney Wiley, would you like to discuss? Well, I can stab. I can try. I think you might do better. So I'll just give an overview. Council, we did a training last year with Attorney Wiley to go over this nuisance and abatement. Our goal is to align it with current state legislation. So we had a call and number of trainings as well as meetings. So what we have before you is a drafted ordinance. Before you, I didn't have any questions via email, but we would ask that this doesn't require a hearing, so it could go on to the consent agenda. Along with this, after the ordinance, there's a SOP that has been developed so that we can follow all policies and procedures related to the ordinance. And again, this ordinance lines up with the current nuisance and abatement state legislations, which ours was pretty outdated. Any questions for the attorney regarding this? If not, can it go to the consent agenda?
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Staff is excited to hear that.
New business A, council.
E.
Oh, E, that's right. Sorry about that. Council to discuss FY26 proposed budget.
Council, we have taken into consideration everything that we've said over the last few months, and so I would really like to approve our fiscal year 2026 annual budget as provided. Is there a motion to approve? We can approve it today, can't we? We got to have another hearing? We can approve today, can't we?
Madam Mayor, you may not approve on the same day you hold.
That's right,
Hearing
gotta
It has
be
to be
next week.
7 days
Okay.
in between, and so that would take us to what date?
That's right, I forgot when we changed the dates.
Yeah, it'll be the next council meeting.
Okay.
Not next week, though.
The 9th.
The 9th.
The 9th, next Monday. I know, I forgot when we switched it.
Madam Mayor, the statute says there has to be 7 days between the date of the hearing and the date of formal adoption. And so what's not clear is whether today is included in that. Obviously, we'll be right at the 7 days. And so I'm going to double check that. If not, Mayor and Council, this will have to go on the March approval.
Or we can have a special call meeting.
Or we can have a special
We gotta
call
get this
meeting
done.
on the 8th or 9th day. So to just
Perfect.
approve it. Yes.
But you'll clarify that
I'll
for us.
clarify whether or not we can include today in that 7 days. Yes.
In discussion, council? I'm gonna start over here to the right. Councilman A. Dixon.
Yes, thank you all, thank you staff, for putting JYCG, that was one of my biggest concerns. I know JYCG asked for $15,000 to carry out their initiatives for the year. I see that it did go from $4,000 to $12,000, which I'm super appreciative of. In light of the recent ice storm, or in preparation for the ice storm that occurred during the Cities United weekend, that event was canceled and it should be rescheduled. So I would love to see that go back up to $15,000 so that we can carry out the initiatives.
I think it was like 14,680.
Well, and that's not including the audio-visual support.
No, the audio-visual support wasn't that. If we do the full amount, then if we go back up to 14,000, then that does include the audio-visual support.
Gotcha. So I would like for it to be the 15,000 to not include the audio-visual support.
So that means you're asking for like 16,000.
If we wanted to include the audio-visual support for the JYCG budget.
So the original budget that was provided from JYCG was 14,834, and it included the IT, but I can verify. I think 14,000 would be reasonable. Let me just state my concerns. When I looked at the budget for Jonesboro Youth City Government, everything, there was nothing in there that attributed to service. Like everything was, like I didn't see like $1,000 to feed the hungry or something like that. And I do believe that we all should, so let me be very clear, we all have a burden to give back to our youth. And I know you all say we need to invest in our youth, but funding at $16,000, which means we will fund 100% of everything for the youth. And I believe that the youth's parents, as a parent, should have some investment in their children. Working with a lot of the schools, Jonesboro High School, when they travel and things, those children, they're home, they're required to fundraise or to come up with something. So I do believe that there's an investment, but I do believe that the parents also need to have an investment. But right now, funding it at $14,000 is funding 100%, and therefore there's no contributions. I've talked to the Jonesboro Youth City government. They have been said that they've been told that they don't want this to be a burden on the family, but I'm not quite sure I agree with that aspect of it. I do believe there should be some buy-in through fundraising and things like that. Also, I want to be mindful again from the taxpayers. I've heard from several that none of the Jonesboro Youth City government are actually residents of the city. So I felt $12,000, which gives them, their family can contribute. If council so chooses to do the $14,000, that's fine. But I think beyond that, just doesn't set a good precedent as far as parents should invest in their children long before anyone else does.
Thank you for that comment, and I totally understand where you're coming from on that. Honestly, some parents just don't have it, and then not to say that that should be on us at all, but if we have the opportunity to create these experiences for our youth that need all the outlets that they can get, that's just what I would like to see.
And I agree, but I think there should be some aspect of fundraising to supplement this. I mean, family has to have skin in the game.
And I agree, and they do have skin in the game. Our original budget, before we presented it to you all, was near $25,000. So we do have things in place. We do have service projects in place. That does not include what's listed here on this budget. And so we are committed to doing fundraising to see that we can still carry out the initiatives that were listed for the $24,000. But the $15,000 would definitely get us to where give us a great foundation.
Yes, Councilwoman Kearney.
All right, good evening. So I just wanted to look at and go over the budget that we've submitted. So some things that, stick out to me glaringly are the fact that we're not really thinking about our contingency funds. So every time we dip into, those funds in order to put more money here, put more money there, we are taking away from basically our rainy day fund. And if I'm not mistaken, Mayor, how many months worth of operating expenses are supposed to be a part of the contingency funds?
Is it 6 months? 6 months.
Okay, and I'm sure we're very far away from that amount, and I would love for us to get to a place to where we have that amount. So, as the mayor stated, the youth city government, I'm definitely in support of the children. I think all of us up here can honestly say that we are, and we want to give them the support and resources that they need. However, as we stated, none of the children, which I was under the impression that it was at least 60 to 70%, because I know you have about 10 students currently on there, but apparently none of them even live within our city limits, which means those parents don't even pay into our property taxes, which I don't think is fair to our residents. And with this current budget, we've actually lowered it, across different departments within the city of Jonesboro, which means that a lot of our staff has been taking that hit. Either we've had to cut personnel, even across different departments, whether it be the police department, public works, code enforcement. So that tells me in my mind that our city is becoming, and luckily we have great, public safety individuals that are definitely going to, make sure we remain at the, top of where we're supposed to be in public safety. But in my mind, strategically, that means we are decreasing how safe we are in the city right now. We're decreasing how beautiful our city is and can be, because now they're not being able to use that money for their resources. and we know, that they desperately need it. Furthermore, even with the stuff that we currently are, what we've changed on council for ourselves, whether it be our travel funds, our training funds, initiative funds, what have you, it's either stayed the same or actually increased across for, certain things. And in my mind, I just don't think that's fair. And if you'll indulge me, council and mayor, I do have two separate scenarios I just want people to think about. So, as we know, I'm a United States Navy veteran, and if there was ever a scenario I was given where we are, in battle, something like that, and we don't have as much food as we might usually have, and we have to split it all amongst different, departments, divisions, what have you, I don't think any of us would give one specific group more or double what everybody else has when everybody else has to eat, less than that. And I don't think we ourselves would give ourselves more food than what we're giving our troops or our sailors. And if that is a little bit too much to think about, like a lot of us in the audience might be parents or something like that, and I'm not a parent. However, if your children if you were in a tight bind and you had to feed, like you had to manage, what that looked like, I think you would try to split it up equally, and if not, you would probably give more of your food to your children, is how I would think about it. And I don't know why we're not thinking about it in that way when it comes to the budget. And I understand like we're in a tight bind because of, current mill rate and stuff like that. However, there are some individuals who went against the advice of our financial advisors, which is why we are currently in this position as well. So I think that's something we should definitely think about when we're thinking about this budget, but specifically, I think you're asking to pretty much double the U City government's budget when everyone else is, lowering theirs. So I don't really think that's right, but that's what I have.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. A few things. I am for the children, right? I am an educator, on hiatus, but an educator nonetheless. I have a beautiful baby who I hope at some point will be a part of this wonderful program. I also believe that a compromise is when neither party gets exactly what they want. And I think going from 4,000 to 8,000 to 12 or 14,000, because I need a little bit of clarity about what's going on with those that last $2,000. But even if it's just to 12,000, I think that is a good compromise where, again, both party budged, but neither party is getting exactly what they want. And I think as far as teaching the children, teaching them the art of compromise is something that they need to be able to learn and digest when they're working or attempting to work or simulate what governing is. I think having to think critically in order to solve those type of problems is something that will benefit them in this journey on the JYCG. I think that Councilman Dixon, your job is to advocate for them, to show them what it looks like when a council person fights for what they want, or fights for what they believe in, and also how to, I don't want to say lick your wounds, but be able to say, hey, look, we got something. It might not be everything, but we got something. I think those are beneficial lessons for them. And I think one thing that's really swaying me or having me take this stance, which most people probably wouldn't think I would take, is after our last meeting, staff members called me, and I'm never a person to divulge names, but staff members called me and were like, I love the kids. And they don't take anything from the kids, but they felt slighted. Y'all, now I'm glad that we have the 4% raise in, but these are members who were going to getting advanced degrees and certifications, and they're like, y'all, there's nothing in there to, for us. She's like, I was gonna leave, but I thought when y'all did this new budget that those considerations would be in place, and so I stayed, and now I'm reconsidering that. And that's something that has been echoed, and I don't want us to make the same mistakes as last council, where there were individuals who either left the city of Jonesboro and or didn't want to come to the city of Jonesboro because of how they felt the council spent money or what they felt the council focused on or didn't focus on. And so I think coming to an agreement where, yes, we are giving more to the children, substantially more, as we should, but we should also make sure that we see what that message how that message comes across to our staff if we're not being equitable in the same manner with them. Those are my couple of cents.
To the left. Just going down.
Thank you
Councilman
all for.
Dixon.
Hello? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I just want to say thank you all for expressing how you all felt. I do want to say that I do believe that these experiences for our youth are extremely important. I can remember just going to GMA and, you know, just the learning processes of what they've learned as they have been able to endure those experiences are very, very important. I mean, at the end of the day, we are teaching them young. So as they do grow old and, you know, move into these professions that they choose to do, they'll be able to have the knowledge and the experience as well. I do also believe that the art of compromise, I do appreciate you saying that, Mayor Pro Tem Miller, but it is very, very important that, you know, they do also feel supported from our council, and, you know, I would love to see that they are fully supported.
Before I go down, I wanted to be clear too that the children should understand that $12,000 does not mean that they're not supported. And I hear that a lot in the social media. I hear it out there, like, we don't support the kids. Going from $4,000 to $12,000 is not an indicator that we do not support the kids, and I don't think it's fair to any of the elected officials when we have this dialogue that the children take away that they're not supported. And there's some other numbers that I can show why I end up having, when I went up to $12,000, I actually made some adjustments. To Mayor Pro Tem's point, right now, I think there are 9 members of Jonesboro Youth City Government, am I correct? Yeah, so that means that we're allocating $1,200 per child. My staff doesn't get that for what they need. They have, I think it was ended up being like $110 for uniforms or attire or something. Our staff is required to wear a city shirt on Fridays if they're gonna wear blue jeans. So that means every Friday, if they wanna wear blue jeans, they need to have a city shirt on. They don't have that much money to buy the shirts, and if you were to poll any staff member, they would love some new short shirts. So I just want us to keep in mind, for me, there are several circles going on here. The pillars of our community, we will all agree, are your seniors and your youth, and then everybody in between. And so I do believe it's time for us to start investing our senior programming. And so if we're gonna allocate $12,000 to the youth, then there needs to be, I didn't say split it, because that's what I hear all the time. Whenever we have a senior event, we sell out. If you look at our concert series, the vast majority of the people that come there are our seniors. We also have an increase in veteran population. I get calls all the time about what do we have for veterans, what services do we have for veterans, what things do we have for veterans. So when you will see an increase in some other areas, it's so that we can accommodate those other populations as well. So I just wanted to add that again, because I don't want to be taken away, and I want the children, I would ask that you all support us in that, so the children aren't taking away this myth that we don't support the children because we don't give the children exactly what they ask for. It's a greater level of support when you don't give them everything they ask for. All right. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have anything? No, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Messick, we still 3 minutes. I'm gonna put a little sheet of paper and put some arrows. Councilwoman Messick.
Thank you, Mayor.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I just want to echo what both sides of the voice have said here today. I completely agree. We need to support our youth. Keeping them focused on something positive is an important job. And I think as an elected officials and as a community, helping out with that with volunteer hours and financial means is important on both areas. We have a good youth city council. We have strong supporters of that youth city council here on the Jonesboro Council, and I would like to see that continue. I would like to see the youth city council fully funded through their budget and what they need, but I'm also willing to assist with any fundraising that they may need to make up the difference. Thank you.
Councilwoman Fox.
Thank you. There are so many things that the youth could be doing. At their age, you know, most of them are younger than what I thought that they were because of how mature and how well they speak and how well they carry themselves. They can be out here robbing, stealing. We already know the number of things that they could be out here doing, but they're invested in government and learning government, and these are our futures. Now, I fully agree, and I do believe that every one of us in the audience as well as on the dais support the youth. As Councilman Dixon stated, the 15K is the compromise because they had a much higher budget. I believe that they should be fully funded at the 15K. They're going to continue to fundraise, as I have spoken to them. 15K is not nearly enough for them to do the things that they want to do. Not only that, but when I look at the budget and I see Christmas decorations, 30,000. Christmas decorations is getting more than the children, in my opinion. And we have Christmas decorations on an annual basis here, but why are we continuously funding a new budget for Christmas decorations every year when the kids are only asking for 15,000? When you look at other counties, other cities, their children are fully funded with more than that.
No.
It is.
No. I got the exact numbers for you.
Not only that, but when we look at city events doesn't, that service everyone in the surrounding counties. That does not just service people that are here in the city of Jonesboro, but everybody. We are the county seat, so it shouldn't just be open to children or people that only live in the county or in the city of Jonesboro, but the surrounding county. So I fully, as my other members have stated, I fully support them getting the 15K because that is a small amount that they're asking for compared to what they really need to be successful. And not only that, but they could be doing so many other things out here, but they choosing to learn government.
Thank you so much. Let me just say, every employee here can choose to be somewhere else, but they choose to come to Jonesboro and be underpaid. Christmas decorations. We have Christmas decorations on there because if any person that works here, how many calls do we get about they want Main Street looking like the City of Hampton. So when you ask about the Christmas decorations, the reason why we have to have it, because I can tell you, I have more people that have asked for Christmas decorations than I have had them ask for youth council. And we jokingly say that, but every year. And we had a $125,000 plan to build on this Christmas thing, but we had to stop it due to some financial things. So that is giving the community what they want. We had some, but they got to be old. I wish Marcus is here, can tell you, $30,000 might buy us some lighted garland. So I just want to address the Christmas decorations, why $30,000 in that, because Christmas decorations are in popular demand. I don't care if we light up City Hall like the North Pole. If Main Street don't have some lights, it's gonna be a problem. So next year, y'all, it's gonna look like the North Pole all around. Something else that was said, yeah, they asked for 25, but every department head asked for more than what they got. So this whole idea that they're not getting what they want, nobody in this room related to this budget is getting what they want. And if there are children that are in need, anyone that knows me knows, just like when you taught school, everybody had to go if you wanted to go. But there are some parents here that can financially support their children, and we can go with the 15,000, but I just need to make sure, keep that energy for the other things that we're gonna fund, because it's the perception that we're giving. So am I hearing you all say y'all want $15,000?
Yes, ma'am.
15,000. Go ahead.
I think there are other ways to get to that number. Before council said that they would pledge some of their initiative funds, I think every council member could do $250, and that'll get them the extra $1,000, or the JYCG could partner with a council member, each one, and then we can use some of our initiative funds and do something in the city, or we can contribute toward movie night, and that can be Councilman and Dixon, Mayor Pro Tem Miller, and JYCG. We all put money in for this particular event, for this one, and the next event that they have. It is a disservice to not allow them to stretch their minds, to be creative. I understand that they cut it down from 24 to 15, but jumping to 24 from 8 shows, I don't want to say an inability, but shows that there could be more practice and being creative with how you approach certain things. And so I would just, even on my city event, my Christmas event, I have to lean on other council members. I have to lean on people for assistance. And this is helping members of our community for Christmas. I have 150, 200 families coming in. And so I just want us to be mindful of what compromise is and that we are all compromising up here. And I think we have a tendency to look our staff in the face and make decisions with them that disregard them. And so if we're talking about this, I want us to fight equally for some additional things for staff. Some money for their Christmas program, or incentives for Employee of the Month, or let's fight to do 3 senior events in the city of Jonesboro a year, or let's at least look like we're not one-sided in this, because I don't hear us fighting equally for those things, and that is being perceived by everyone. Perception matters, and we don't need the people that we have here that are doing amazing jobs that we all pull on every day, like they're not wearing 3 and 4 and 5 hats anyway. We don't need them feeling undervalued. And so I just want us to be mindful of what we're putting out there over $1,000, $1,000 to $3,000, because I'm still confused about that 2,000. But be mindful of what we're putting out there as opposed to being creative. What damage are we creating with this messaging where we can fix it in other ways? So just be mindful.
Mayor, may I say something?
Yeah, I was gonna also interject, like, I would hope that if we do fund them at $15,000, that, like, I haven't seen any acts of service. I know they participate in a parade and things like that, so we'll be reaching out and really relying on them to support in areas of service.
Yeah, I have some projects coming up that I'm going to be approaching them next month, coming to their meetings. I think this is a new council, so one of the things that I want to make clear, at least for me, because I can't speak for everybody, I fully support the staff. There wouldn't be, when I email Ms. Chandrella, when I email different people, there is a consensus that it's one or the other, and I don't think that it should be that way. If there's a way that we can fund everything, we should at least try, because when you have, for example, we have Main Street, which I'm so glad that we are funding Main Street, but that is a new program initiative that just started this year that's automatically getting a $15,000. They're starting off with $15,000. Our youth didn't start off that way. When I look at our priorities, I agree. All of these things are important, and there's not one, in my book, for me, that's more important or less important than the other. What I'm saying is, let's give everything an equal opportunity, fiscally responsible, of course. And again, let me echo, the $15,000 for them is the compromise.
Okay, so if we're taking that, thank you so much, then I need to go back to my department heads and y'all give me y'all wish list and let's fund from there. Because that's what we're doing with. They gave us their wish list, whereas I told staff, don't give me your wish list because we can't afford it. We got 170, what's in our contingency? That's 174,000 that I can tell you every department wanted in some aspect. I can ask Chief right now, what did you not get? I can ask Marcus, what did you not get? I can ask all the staff what they didn't get because they didn't get no substantial pay raises that should have brought them up to the mean average of the positions that they do. That 170-some thousand could roll back the 3 positions that we took off of Public Works and the 2 positions that I don't know, I think y'all both lost. How many you lost, Chief? 6 total. I'm sorry, 6 total. And so. How many positions did you lose?
6 total.
6 police officers were not funded. Mr. Hurd, how many of your police officers were not funded?
3 Public Works employees.
3 Public Works. As a result, Public Works for this quarter cannot work overtime. So now they have to work on the weekend. Whereas in the past, they worked 40 hours during the week and then they rotate on the weekend as the opportunity to make time and a half. But because of this contingency, Mr. Hurd, can they work overtime?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, and overtime is needed to keep our city clean. And when we spoke with them, I spoke with the Public Works, the first thing they said was, Madam Mayor, all due respect, that's how we stretch this $22 an hour. By having X amount of hours of overtime, that now I have to say you cannot get hours of overtime. And trust me, they're watching. They are watching, and they will work alongside the children or the youth. But I think this whole idea of the children asked for 25 and we're only giving them 15,000, let's be true. Every department asks for things. Matter of fact, they didn't even ask. I told them, here, take what you had last year because we can't increase because of the millage rate. And as a result, I'll cut from there, and that's what we did. So if we're gonna vote and do it, but it's fine, but this, you gotta be correct in what you're saying. Everybody lost substantially. And to say that the children asked for 25, but we're only giving them 15,000, that's $1,500 per child. $1,500 per child. All right, any other things on the budget y'all wanna talk about? We're gonna get some Christmas decorations this year.
I just want to echo again, I think
They're
everyone's
gonna
heart.
be big and pretty.
I think everyone's heart is in the right place.
know
But
about
again,
that,
I
Mayor
would
Pro
just
Tem.
please ask you guys to think about the perception. I don't think anything's wrong with fighting for the youth. I think that we don't know what staff is going through. I think we don't know because we're not in the building. I think we only know when we sit and have these conversations. And so, again, I just implore you all to please just think about what we're giving. I remember hearing police officers saying they didn't want to come to the city of Jonesboro because the way our previous council as a whole just dealt with the budget for public safety. I don't want to give that impression to our current staff or other staff members that we want to come. And I think we're not thinking about it because we're willing to die on this hill. And again, it's a good fight. The kids are worth it. But we have to make sure that we're not doing more damage than good. And we have several opportunities where we can still find this money later on: salary savings, fundraising, assistance from council, initiative funds. We have more than we've ever had before. There are other ways, and it's, to me, as much as I love the children, and again, I said I want my baby to be part of this, it's not worth the damage and perception that I'm not for anything that's going to make Jonesboro worse. And so the children will make it better, but the perception of what might happen to the staff is something that can make Jonesboro worse because these are the people who make the city go.
And I also want, just for the public record, the Jonesboro Youth City Government asked for roughly $14,840. $2,400 of that included a GMA summit, which is really good, in downtown Atlanta. Well, they weren't able to go because they canceled it. So reason why it's at $12,000, I wasn't just taking money, I just did the math. If I funded them completely at $14,834 and I subtracted the $2,400, you get close to about $12,000. So that's how I got to the rationale about $12,000. But again, I'm just gonna tell you, I work with Jonesboro High School, the middle school, and all the elementary schools. And when it's time for them to go on trips and stuff, parents have to get out there and help and support. And if your parent can't help and your support, then your aunts and your uncles, come to me. I got more popcorn than a little bit at my house. So, I mean, we're willing to support, but I do believe that we're completely, now I will say that you want to take them to National League of Cities. National League of Cities is the national league for cities all across the country. I've been 3 years, Ms. Akuta went, and they do take youth forums, youth groups go. And I'm okay with them going, but I'm not okay that every child assumes going to a place like that out of state with an investment should be a privilege. And I think it's something that should be earned. You know now that in November you want to go to National League of Cities. So right now this funds all of their registrations. So we still have some way to get them, we still got to get them transportation, we still got to get them that. But I just want to see, I'm going to have to say it. Anybody that has been around children, there is this sense of entitlement. And I don't want to contribute to it. And so I'll leave it at that. Not that I don't care about the children, not that I don't want them at National League of Cities, but I want them to be invested. And again, when I looked at the budget, nothing said we're going to spend $500 to feed the hungry. We're going to spend $200 to clean the streets. Everything was for them, for them, for them. All right, so we don't have to beat this dead horse over and over again. We got $15,000 in the budget. Was there anything else? Can we keep the Christmas decoration? Can we keep? Okay. Anything else? If that's, all right, we're good. All right, any other, because I'm gonna get Miss Karen to solidify this. This can go to the consent agenda whenever we have a meeting. Because I want to change that. Yes.
Madam Mayor, I think City Clerk and I have confirmed we will have to have a special call meeting.
Okay.
Not earlier than the 10th?
Yes.
Or the 12th?
The 10th.
The 10th of February.
Not earlier than, so can we have it on the 10th?
Yes.
Okay. So council, before we leave, let's confirm that we'll have a special call meeting on the 10th. It should be really quick because this is the budget that we're going to approve.
I have a question.
Yes.
About the budget. Based on the conversation we just had, and we said that we're gonna start advocating for staff and stuff, we all just heard the Public Works can't do overtime. So what needs to happen? What can be put back? How much does contingency need to be in order for them to be able to have overtime?
Let me go back to that budget line. And we had suspended it for first quarter, just so we could see where the budget was gonna go. Public Works overtime. It would probably need to be during the springtime, like I said, 15,000 now, which went up from last year because we always spend overtime. We always go over on overtime. So it would probably need to be, I don't know, what did you say, Marcus?
I can't recall because I'm not looking at it right now. Currently.
Okay, I think it's 15,000 is what's in the budget for this year overtime. Last year was 6,000. In 2024, our unaudited amount was 25,000. And I know last year we did a whole lot.
Because I remember, if I'm not mistaken, especially once it gets warmer, the cemetery itself takes
It takes one full week.
of manpower, all hands on deck, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
during that time, in order for the other things to get done in the city, they're gonna have to work beyond and that's just the first thing I could think of, not to mention all the concerts or things and to cleaning the park and all these things. So I think it's worth putting that money back in there so that these
Well,
things get paid for it.
we increased it. What I think I'll do is I'll make with Marcus and we will go back into, I won't withhold over. And it's not like I hope you understood why I did the overtime for the first 3 months. But I will work with, and if that line item goes over, it just goes over. All right, thank you. Next on the agenda, new business.
New business A, council to discuss variance application 26 VAR 001 submitted by Max Coulton for properties located at 262 and 294 South Main Street. Parcel number 06032A B002, 06032A B002Z, and 06032A B006, Jonesboro, Georgia 30236, within the mixed-use district and the Gateway South District. The properties consist of 29.14 plus or minus acres. The request seeks approval to allow encroachment into the required stream buffer to accommodate the proposed development.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Staff is gonna request that this particular item be tabled. There's also an item on the agenda for, us to engage in a professional services agreement with Falcon Design. So I would like to have this, item tabled, and hopefully we get that approval and be able to engage them on this project moving forward.
Approved. Do we need a vote for table? I forgot. No.
Yes.
I entertain a motion to table item A under new business.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are you-
Letter B, council to discuss and/or consider a proposed amendment to ordinance code section 46A8, possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce.
All right, thank you. If you could pull up the PowerPoint, please. I do have a light presentation and then remarks at the end. So, oh gosh. I need you. You just, yeah, if y'all could go all the way back. Yes, a light presentation. Thank you all so much for coming out here and being in support. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, but welcome to the City of Jonesboro if you've never been before. This is a proposal to align the City of Jonesboro's simple marijuana possession penalties with neighboring communities and modern best practices. So this is really just us wanting to make sure people aren't being incarcerated because of, this sad incident, sorry. Next, thank you. So I was in the Navy at one point in time, and every good brief has a references slide, and I do believe in that. I'm gonna take that with me here. All right, moving on. I'm not gonna say this is classified or anything. This is very unclass. All right, so why Jonesboro should update ordinance section 46-8. So currently, our ordinance treats possession of 1 ounce or less of marijuana as a serious criminal offense. And under that general Penalty of ordinance section 1-12, citizens face up to $1,000 in fines and 180 days in jail for just a simple possession. Jonesboro's penalty structure places us significantly out of step with Clayton County, Atlanta, and a lot of our neighboring cities, who I am going to speak about later on in this PowerPoint. A lot of them have moved towards civil penalties with no jail time, and our current approach is a lot harsher than necessary, and it also consumes valuable law enforcement resources that we currently have, and it creates an enforcement disparity for our residents as compared to those just living just outside of the city limits. So we definitely want to get aligned. This presentation is going to outline that straightforward path and reclassify the possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana as a civil violation with a modest fine. And you can also do community service, but it will equate to absolutely no jail time. Next slide. All right, so how it currently works today. So section 46-8 grants the municipal court jurisdiction over possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana, and the punishment will be as provided in section 1-12, which I already outlined earlier, which is the fine of up to $1,000, imprisonment of 180 days, and both the fine or imprisonment, and that does not include the court fees as well. And this has all been verified by, our judge, Chief Judge Wood. So he is, very aware of this, and he is in support. The problem right now is, by default, low-level marijuana possession becomes a fully criminalized offense, which has serious consequences that are disproportionate and costly to our citizens. So I really just want to make sure we're aligned. All right, so Clayton County already led the way. September of last year, they did pass an ordinance in which possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana was a civil non-criminal violation. So right now, they're at a $150 civil fine, no jail time, no drug convictions, and it is still illegal under the state law. We are not trying to, we're not trying to say that marijuana will no longer be, illegal, but we just want to decriminalize it for our city. Next. Perfect, thank you. Atlanta already set the standard years ago, of course, with their ordinance that they put forth, and they recognize that, without specific penalties, marijuana offenses defaulted to harsh general penalties, and they were disproportionate to the conduct. So we don't want to, do that anymore, of course, and that's the situation that we're currently in. Currently, Atlanta has a maximum fine of $75, and of course, still no imprisonment. And Atlanta City Council explicitly recognized the structural flaw in allowing general penalty possession to apply to low-level marijuana possession, and it's the same flaw that's currently in our Jonesboro Code that we are trying to change today. All right, Forest Park. So they are the first city in Clayton County to actually decriminalize marijuana back in 2018. So they, of course, have no jail time. And then theirs is a $100 fine for their first offense and $300 fines for their subsequent offenses. So Forest Park proves that decriminalization works in a small, non-college Clayton County cities. And this isn't just a policy for big cities or college towns. It's practical and effective for communities just like ours, and we really should adopt that today. I wanted to put up 2 cities as well that are also in Georgia, but there might be different sizes or the same approach or even close in comparable size to us, specifically East Point. So they decriminalized December of 2023, and they're geographically close to us. As it pertains to Metro Atlanta. So they have a $75 citation or community service. And Camilla is, they decriminalized in April of 2023. They have a $35 fine or community service, and their population is more closely comparable to ours. So this example just shows that across, different cities in Georgia that we're all moving towards the right direction, and we're trying to be workable, fair, and effective without any adverse public safety consequences as well. Next slide. All right, so this is currently a list of all the cities and counties that have currently decriminalized, and I do have the ones that pertain to us here in Clayton County bolded, being Forest Park and, of course, Clayton County. If we pass it today, Jonesboro will be the 22nd municipality to decriminalize marijuana in the state of Georgia, and hopefully we keep, giving and setting the example for others to do that as well. All right, so I'm going to address some common concerns that you might hear, just different, notions and stuff like that. So this legalizes marijuana? Absolutely not. This proposal does not legalize marijuana. The possession remains illegal under Georgia state law. If it is found that someone is pulled over and they have less than 1 ounce of marijuana, the police officer will destroy it on scene. It will be seen within, his or her camera, and they will be given a citation for that. We're simply adjusting the local penalty exactly the same as Clayton County did and as Atlanta, and we're aligning with our county, and the conduct is still prohibited. We're just making the punishment fit the offense. We want to make the punishment fit the crime here, and so that's the direction we're trying to go in. This will increase crime or drug use that is not supported by evidence. Statistically, peer jurisdictions have adopted the decriminalization to improve public safety by reallocating law enforcement resources to more serious crimes, and none of the jurisdictions have found that decriminalization actually increased crime. In fact, the opposite argument is stronger, freeing up the police time for more violent crimes and utilizing those resources better, and property crimes, so making our communities safer. Jonesboro will lose revenue. Misleading. Civil fines remain enforceable and collectible, so we will still be collecting this money from those fines. And meanwhile, the incarceration-related costs, so whether it be booking, detention, court time, routinely exceed any revenue generated by a higher penalty. So this is about smart resource allocation and not revenue loss. And the city should wait on Georgia legislature. I think it's not necessary. Georgia law already authorizes municipal courts to handle these cases and allow cities to set the penalties by ordinance. We are not going against Georgia state law. We are still in accordance with, so there's no need to, try to say that that's something that we are currently doing. We don't need permission from the state legislature to do this. We have the authority to act now, and our neighbors have already done so. So I just want to make sure everybody knows we affirm our stance in the city of Jonesboro that the use of marijuana or any other illegal drug is not tolerated within the city limits. However, we recognize the limitations and societal impacts of punitive enforcement, and the city adopts this as a more focused, holistic approach. Why this matters? Mainly, fairness and proportionality, regional consistency, resource allocation, as I stated prior, and of course, community trust. So a person caught with a small amount of marijuana shouldn't face the same potential jail time as someone convicted of far more serious offenses. And if they are pulled over and they have another, charge that is a more serious offense, those still will be, prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Our current ordinance just treats low-level possession with a severity that just doesn't match the conduct. Next. So what I'm proposing right now is a cap of the fine, of course, somewhere between $75 to $150. I did want to do the fine for $100, and I absolutely want to eliminate the incarceration, so remove the jail time as a penalty for the possession of 1 ounce or less, and clarify it as a civil status, so make clear that the violations are civil and not non-criminal, and non-criminal under city law, and of course, preserve transfer rights. So, next. So, here we go. So, $100 for the maximum fine, of course, 0 days of jail time, and of course, 100% community service option, and if there are, people that would like more, personal medical, resources and stuff like that, I definitely want to extend that to them as well. All right, so what happens to the state law? Like I said, nothing in this ordinance changes Georgia state law. Marijuana possession remains illegal under the state statute, and that's what we're changing is how Jonesboro handles these cases at our municipal court level. All right, next. All right, so I do have some remarks, and I would like for our Clayton County Police Chief to come up. Chief Roberts, if you could.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me. And I want to just salute Councilwoman Kearney because her presentation was excellent. And Actually, I wish I had your presentation when I approached my board in September of '25, because it's very well done, very accurate. And I just want to say, I listened to this council have a robust conversation about monies for youth. Those youth grow into young adults. And I don't know about you, but I made many a mistake during my young life as an adult that I was able to recover from. These arrests for possession of marijuana less than an ounce, if criminalized, stays with a person for an extended period of time. I know as a police chief, when I interview candidates that have had a possession charge, I have to weigh that in my consideration of giving them an employment. It may have been a one-time decision in life where they made a bad decision, but that's on their criminal record. This approach changes that. This approach gives the community, any Clayton County community, any Clayton County citizen, an opportunity to recover from a bad decision in their youth. So I endorse this, and I'll say again that I want to copyright Councilwoman Kearney's presentation. It was excellent, but this approach maintains that marijuana remains illegal under Georgia law while offering a practical civil alternative that reflects current prosecutorial realities and regional best practices. I think that's what this council wants to be part of. I think that's what the Clayton County Board of Commissioners wanted to be a part of. And I think it's what the region needs to be a part of. So I salute this council, and I support Councilwoman Kearney's approach, and I support this council's approach if that's the direction that you choose. And I'm here for questions if you have them. I like that.
All right. There will be. Thank you so much, Chief. So I did also want to bring up Corey Lowe from Peachtree Normal. And then after that, it will be final remarks from our representative, Eric Bell. Go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, Madam Mayor, and thank you for your time. And I'll be brief because I know everyone's got lives and busy things to do, and I respect your time, and thank you again. Like you said, my name is Corey Lowe, and I'm a former police officer with DeKalb County, and just here as a advocate, as a parent, and I heard you all speaking earlier about the budget, and I understand there's a lot, and it just seems like a simple fix to decriminalize cannabis and use the funds, and you can have the greatest Christmas
Thank
light
you.
ever using the money from that. You could,
Thank you.
You can make it a Hallmark movie.
There you
And
go.
you could help with the children, with the youth, and take the money from the citations, and it's a win-win. It seems like a simple solution, and the people who have been caught and have been, not able to pay, put them at the cemetery, and they can clean up the cemetery during the summer, and that would cut down on overtime for the city works.
Come on now.
Sorry. It just seemed like a simple solution while I was sitting back there listening, and I'm not a rocket scientist by any means, but it just seemed like it made sense. And so anyway, thank you all for your time, and we hope to be here a part of this historical night, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State Representative Eric Bell, I know you spoke at public comment. You good?
You good?
All right, perfect. All right, next one. All right, so I do request for approval. I respectfully request that this ordinance be adopted today, and you might ask why. So our neighboring jurisdictions have. Sorry about that. Our neighboring jurisdictions have already acted. Clayton County's ordinance is already in effect. Every day we wait is another day for Jonesboro residents to face disproportionate penalties compared to those living just right outside of our city limits. This is a straightforward policy update with proven results in comparable communities. We have the legal authority, the policy justification, and the regional precedent to move forward. And what happens next, if we do approve this today, this ordinance will take effect immediately, and our law enforcement officials, solicitor, and municipal court will begin applying the new civil penalty structure, and Jonesboro would join our peer jurisdictions in treating low-level marijuana possession with proportionate, evidence-based penalties. This is about fairness, consistency, and smart governance, and I look forward to your support.
This time I entertain a motion to approve proposed ordinance regarding possession of marijuana.
So made.
In discussion.
Mayor,
Mm-hmm.
I have a statement I'd like to read.
Oh, please read.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm not going to be popular. I'm so sorry. But I respectfully oppose the decriminalization of marijuana in our city. My position is not based on punishment, but on public safety, respect for the law, economic opportunity, and the long-term health of our community. I want to make just a few points. Won't take too long. Point one, marijuana is still illegal under Georgia state law. First and most importantly, marijuana remains illegal in the state of Georgia, regardless of local discussion about decriminalization. Under OCGA 16-1330, possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana is a misdemeanor offense. The law allows penalty to up to 12 months in jail or a fine of $1,000. Possession of 1 ounce more is classified as a felony under state law. While some cities have attempted to reduce local penalties, local ordinances do not override state law. State law enforcement agencies can and do continue to enforce Georgia statutes even in cities that attempt to decriminalize possession. Decriminalizing sends a confusing message to residents that something is acceptable locally even though it remains illegal statewide. My second point is Jonesboro already enforces public safety laws consistently. Jonesboro has made it clear that public safety and law enforcement consistency matter. For example, the city of Jonesboro strictly regulates open container violations. Under Jonesboro's Code 6-6, it's illegal to possess an open container of alcohol in a motor vehicle, on a public street, or in parks or in parking lots, with limited, clear, defined exceptions for permitted events. At the state level, the open container law has a fine of $200 plus court cost. So alcohol is legal, and it's going to carry a double the fine for causing a law violation that possessing an illegal substance would cause. If we enforce alcohol laws to protect safety, why would we weaken enforcement of another illegal substance that affects judgment, reaction time, and public behavior? Reduced penalties encourage increased use of law breaking. Making penalties less severe encourages more use. When laws are weakened, behavior follows. Decriminalizing does not eliminate marijuana use, it normalizes it. The normalization leads to increased public use, increased exposure for our youth, and increased burden on law enforcement and on the court system. Rather than encouraging residents to abide by the law, decriminalization encourages people to test boundaries and disregard legal standards entirely. Law exists not only to punish, but to guide behavior. Weakening consequences weakens compliance. A drug-free community creates job opportunities. Fourth, drug-free standards open doors to employment, especially in government and public service careers. Many city, county, state, and federal jobs require drug-free testing, including the armed forces, law enforcement, fire and emergency services, public works, transportation, utilities, and infrastructure roles. Maintaining a clear message that Jonesboro values a drug-free workforce helps residents, especially our young people, remain eligible for stable careers with benefits, pensions, and long-term growth. Decriminalization works against that goal by lowering expectations instead of raising opportunities. My last point. Finally, a drug-free community benefits families, schools, and neighbors. It promotes clear expectations for youth, safe public spaces, stronger accountability, and respect for law and order. We can be compassionate without lowering our standards. We can support rehabilitation, education, and prevention while still affirming that illegal drugs do not belong in our culture. A closing note, Jonesboro is a city that I love, a city of pride, a city with lots of history, and a city with lots of promise. By choosing not to decriminalize marijuana, we choose clarity over confusion, opportunity over normalization, and safety over short-term convenience. Increased public use, increased exposure for youth, and increased burden on law enforcement and courts. Thank you for your time and your commitment to the future of Jonesboro.
There's a motion on the floor. It's been appropriately second. All in favor?
I do have a,
I have
I'm sorry.
something to say as well.
yeah, I thought we were still in discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know anybody. Okay. Anybody over here want to say something?
I had something that I wanted to say.
Okay.
So this matter hits home for me. Many of you know that I have two beautiful boys, and one of them loved Mary Jane at one point of his life, but I thank God, by the grace of God, that he is now serving in the Army Air Traffic Control. He was 17, yeah. He was 17 when he was pulled over, and I thank God that God found favor with the police officer that pulled him over and, you know, just kind of gave him a warning. One of the things that I would like to see, Councilman Kearney, I think the presentation, as Chief said, amazing job. I would like to see that fine increase possibly to mirror Clayton County a little bit, 150 if possible. Also, one of the things that I had to do for my son, which I know many parents may have not been fortunate to do, and Chief can clarify this for me. I believe in Clayton County, first-time offenders for those under 21 may be required to complete a substance abuse education or recovery program instead of paying the fine. Is that something, Councilman Kearney, that's included in the ordinance? I wasn't sure. I wanted to ask you about that.
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. I think that there should be exceptions, and one of them should be that. This ordinance also applies to Clinton County also has it where this ordinance applies to simple possession of green leaf marijuana. It does not apply to DUIs involving marijuana. And if other criminal charges are present, this discriminalization may not apply. Is this also something that is in the ordinance?
Yes, our ordinance mirrors Clayton County's ordinance with the exception of the amount of the fine, but everything else mirrors theirs exactly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All righty. Right up here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, first.
Councilman Alfred Dixon.
Thank you. Thanks again, Councilwoman Kearney, for putting us in alignment, you know, with our county and our sister cities as well. And it's clear that we're thinking far beyond enforcement with this revision. So I really do appreciate that. Going back to Councilwoman Kearney's point in regards to raising it, would the council be open to, Councilman Fox, excuse me. Councilman Fox alluded to raising it. Would this council be open to taking it up even a little bit more and creating a restricted reallocation use for those funds to go towards our veterans, seniors, residents with unique abilities, children?
We would have to look into the legality of, would that have to be a separate resolution when we apply funds? And also, if we were to do a maximum civil fine of 150, just understand that it's a maximum. The judge could still determine what he wants at that particular point. Another stipulation I was going to advise that if community service is in lieu of payment, that community service is required to be done in the city of Jonesboro. Now they have a lot of flexibility and can go just about anywhere. So I would ask that community service be, if it is in lieu of payment, that it's required to be on a structured date.
Mayor?
So, yes.
Oh, my bad. Are you finished?
Yes. I just want to be clear that there's a motion on the floor for the ordinance code section, amendment to the ordinance code section 46-8 as prescribed in the agenda item summary package. Get some of you.
Okay. I was just gonna say to Councilman A. Dixon's point, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I just want to make sure we're, you know, within, you know, the confines of the law to do that. If that money can be, you know, funneled somewhere else, like for anything else for the city, like whether it be, like you said, veterans or, you know, our senior population or even our
Children
youth
with unique
population.
abilities.
Yes, exactly. Disabled youth, anything. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I just want to make sure that it doesn't mess up anything with the municipal courts as well, but no problem on my side.
Council, I would ask that we approve it without that particular condition, I would like to look at numbers and see how this impacts, because we have a revenue line item for courts that affects a budget, so let's see that before we do allocation. I'm not opposed to that at a future day, but I definitely think we need to look at some financial numbers first before we're doing that.
Or would you?
Well,
all be open
right
to-
now, the current motion is at 150. and it was been appropriately second.
Madam Mayor, it's, at 100 was the motion.
And I'm sorry, at 100, I'm sorry, and
Yes.
it's been appropriately second. So right now, the motion on the floor is for 100. Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm for, if we don't decide to increase it, I'd like to know if you're open to the subsequent fines that Forest Park included for repeat offenders. Maybe that is where we can offset the price. And even if it's not the second time, maybe it's the third time, but if we can put that in there, I want to know if you're open to that.
How was that already set up in the court when their repeat offenders come in? I know there's something already.
So in the courts, it goes, say a standard fine is $250, and then doubles to $500, and then doubles again for third offense. But when we discussed this initially, the initial fine was $150. Am I mistaken?
Well, I wanted it to be $100. For Clayton County, it is $150 currently, but I wanted us to bring ours down to $100. But I am open to somewhere between that. I would ask that council, can we at least say like $125? Can we meet in the middle there? Is that an option or no?
And again, I just want to be mindful that we are establishing a maximum not to exceed. So there is still variability for the judge to, is it not? I'm sorry, Chief. Can he, when we say maximum, he can determine less, can he?
Yes.
He can
No.
determine.
He can't determine more.
Establish the maximum, that's what you're saying the judge
Can't go, yeah, okay, that's right, he can't go over, okay.
he can go less.
Okay, gotcha, that's what I meant. Who made the motion?
Councilwoman Kearney.
Would you like to amend your motion to establish a maximum civil fine of $150?
I still got some more discussion about that.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to clarity, so it's already built in that no matter what, even for the civil, it's gonna double if they are repeat offenders.
No.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mayor Pro Tem, no.
We should include that.
This will not be, this is a non-criminal administrative fine, and so it would not automatically double. In addition, with regular criminal penalties, there are add-ons that the court will add on, and those add-on charges are prescribed by state law. Like some of it has to go maybe for the library, the court, or the Munich Code. There are different requirements for all the different add-ons. You can have a $200 criminal ticket, but you may end up paying $325 once you put all the add-ons on there. And that 120, yeah, so that 125 is all add-on. This administrative penalty does away with that. There will be no add-ons. This will be the maximum penalty, and the judge, when we met with the judge and our police chief to discuss this proposal, you know, the judge knew that he had discretion in terms of what kind of community service he would impose, whether he would do it. You know, there's a wide array of factors that a court can use, its mercy and discretion and how it does the fine, making people do certain things in community service. I think, to your point, Madam Mayor, talking with the judge and solicitor about community service opportunities here in Jonesboro, so they'll know where to funnel individuals to those programs will be necessary. But I just wanted to clarify that. And I don't think there was anything else that was lingering, but if it was, please remind me.
So can we put that in here, that if you are a repeat offender, your fine is increased?
Well, I want to be mindful. Let me just say that. If it's not a problem, then what's the problem with them doing it over and again? It's a
Right,
crime. It's a crime. It's just, we've made it civil. So are we telling them, and again, this is just me thinking this through, if it's civil and therefore it's no longer criminal, then if I get caught on Monday, then you're saying that I should never do it again, because if I get caught on Tuesday, you're gonna triple my fine. But again, I'm not in law enforcement, I don't know.
It would be two separate penalties. So if you get caught Monday and you get caught Tuesday, then each offense is its own separate offense. It carries with it its own fine. So you'll be subject to 200, whatever you all come up with as a number, you'll be subject to those. Each day you're caught, is a crime. So, or it's a fine. Let me also say that one of the things that Councilwoman Kearney stated in her presentation is that there is nothing that prohibits the Jonesboro police officer, if they pull someone over with less than an ounce, and they also have an unregistered firearm, and they have an expired tag, and all of those charges will still go. You just will have the administrative fine for that particular low-level offense of possession of less than an ounce. But it doesn't preclude officers from also using their determination as to which statute they're going to cite someone under. I would venture to say that if you cited someone under state law for that crime, I don't think the district attorney's office or anyone is going to take that to trial. It's just not cost effective. I don't know, but I think there's some cost realities when you're prosecuting these low-level offenses that just don't make it efficient for use of public resources.
And just going back to what I said, that's why I don't want to allocate these funds to a certain fund, because there is no administrative fee. They still have to come before, and we're still using our court services. And we're still going to use probation and all of that other monitoring type. We're not using, but community service, how do they do that? That still goes through? Okay, we'll figure that out.
We don't know the financial
Is 100 enough?
burdens that'll come with changing and revamping the system, because I am not for it being criminal and people having criminal charges, but also there is someone that's going to have to pay to funnel your community service. There is someone that we're going to have to pay when you come in to talk to the court if you don't just pay the fine, or if you want to, there are still people that need to be paid. And so if you're going to come and do it 3 and 4 and 5 and 7 and 8 times, then I just think that we have to pay the people who have to process these things. And so I'm just wondering if $125 would be enough consistently to do that. That's my only, but I won't die on the hill. I'm not gonna stop it.
I think that as, things happen, we can change policy if necessary. So I think personally $100 is more than enough, but if the council wants to, push forward with $125, and that be just, I think, the repeat fine. So if they do it on Monday, it's $125. If they do it on Wednesday, it's $125. If they do it on Friday, $125. Somebody who's great at math, tell me how much money we just made off that entire week. That's what I'm talking about, $375. So I do think that it's still, a good thing and a good plan, because I get it, Clayton County's got they're doing a little bit more money on the $150 side, but down in Athens, they're $35, and I think it's another city that's also, Camilla, they're $35, and they're just fine, so.
All right,
I don't
so
think 100 is that far off.
I know there's a lot of discussion. There's a motion on the floor. It's been appropriately second. We can take a vote for this and see if it dies and comes back with a less amount, or we can modify.
Did you amend it?
Is the motion for 100, Mayor?
Yeah, the motion now is for 100.
Can we
100.
modify that amount?
If she, only the person that made the motion can, so I'm gonna ask her. If not, it has to pass or fail. So,
$100 to stay out of Clayton County Jail.
Councilwoman Kearney, can y'all, public discussion? So there's a motion on the floor. It's been appropriately second. Let's just take a vote on this one, and then if we need to modify, we can. All in favor?
Aye.
Hold on for a second. I'm just trying to understand, like,
Okay, well, then she needs to amend it. So do you want to amend your motion?
and that's what we're discussing right now.
Okay, we'll discuss out.
All right. So,
All
Gotcha.
right, who's
So
talking right now?
current-
So Councilman Alfred Dixon has the floor.
yes.
So currently, Chief, it's $1,000 if someone gets caught with marijuana, correct? Maximum. And currently, we want to take it down to $100. When Ms. Lowe expressed, very beautifully that this is an opportunity for us to take care of the things that we need to take care of. And I feel that, sorry? Could be.
Legalities of being able to align that money with funds or allocation for veterans or.
Got you. And I'm all for, protecting the stability of our families here. But at the same time, I feel like we can take that up just a bit.
To what? Just making sure.
Like I said, currently it's 1,000.
All right,
I
hold
would
on,
love
one
to
person
see
at a
what-
time.
I would love to see what council's thoughts is. I'm thinking $200 to $500. And I'm like, currently it's 1,000. Currently it's 1,000. And like I said, we need a lot. We want, we need a lot of things within our city. So I'm just trying to be creative here. But yeah, just wanted to hear what the council had to say.
So there's a motion on the floor for a maximum civil fine of $100. I'm trying to-
And of course, we still got to talk about,
Wait,
the repeat, offenders and just different things
So
like that.
those things are, okay.
I'm trying to nail down a number here, so.
Councilwoman Kearney, just wait. Did you have something to say, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, it's more about the discussion.
Mayor Pro Tem?
And maybe Chief can answer this question for me. When you give someone a citation, can you walk me through the process of how many people are involved from citation to paying it?
So at current, because there's no quantifiable test, there's a lot of citations that aren't being issued unless it's 1 ounce or more, or they have marijuana, plus guns, plus credit cards and things like that don't belong to them that are associated with another crime. But essentially, the officer will write the citation, they turn that into the courts. There's 2 people within courts that schedule those court cases, and then there's front office staff, 2 staffers in the front office that field those telephone calls, collect fines and things like that for court. Plus, the judge sits on court day to hear the case.
Okay.
You have evidence custodian that is in charge of taking that evidence in, dropping that evidence into evidence and holding it for court until its disposition is being.
I hear you.
Till a disposition is issued by the court.
Okay, thank you. So I heard 7 to 10 hands possibly, right? These are people that we have to pay $15 an hour, $20 an hour, $19 an hour, right? And so to the point, even of the other cities, Clayton County has way more revenue than we do. Forest Park has way more revenue than we do. Camilla, different. Athens, way more revenue than we do. And so I am all for helping all people. The people who come through and they have a little less than an ounce, I get it. Also our residents too, because we're asking a lot on their backs right now. And so if we're going to make this change, that might come with some challenges from the residents in the city of Jonesboro, because change is difficult for everybody. I think we should at least be able to show them that it's not gonna put us in a deficit, because I don't know how we could pay 7 people on $125. And I just feel like I just want it to make sense a little bit more.
Okay, so will we entertain just aligning with the county and just doing
Hold on one
150?
second, Mayor, Councilwoman Kearney. Just want us to stay away, so we have a motion on the floor. Do you want to amend your motion?
I want to amend
know.
my motion once I find out
But it has to
if
go
people.
through, but it has to go through the discussion.
They're still in discussion.
We're still in discussion. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but just wait till you acknowledge. I'm trying to keep it a little.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Please, okay. All right, so I'm trying to figure out, could we just align with Clayton County and do $150 for the fine? Would everybody is anybody opposed to that, I guess? Then I would like to amend my motion and change the fine to $150.
Do you still second, Councilman Dixon?
Second.
All right. No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, thank you so very much. Next on the agenda. All right, next on the agenda.
Letter C, council to consider a professional service agreement with Falcon Design Consultants LLC for full service civil engineering services, including site planning, water and sewer systems, transportation, stormwater management, construction oversight, GIS, and code compliance.
Okay, good evening again, Mayor and Council. The item before you is for a professional services agreement with Falcon Design Consultants. We currently have a agreement with them for our 100 Gloria Drive project where they're,
Excuse me one second. little transition here. My apologies, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Is your mic on? Okay, good, okay.
The item before you is for a professional services agreement with Falcon Design Consultants. We currently have an agreement with them for our 100 Gloria Drive project, but their current services are limited to that scope of work. So we are seeking approval to engage in a professional services agreement with them to benefit from their full firm. And I also have a representative here this evening from Falcon Design, if he may come up.
And council, this is work session, so are there any questions on that? All the information was provided. We did not receive any questions in advance, so I'm assuming that there are none.
I did have one.
You did have one.
I did have a question.
Okay.
Mayor.
Councilman Alfred Dixon.
So yes, thank you for this report. This is in regards to the GIS systems on there. I see in the contract, I believe it was $140 for those services in particular. Will that be applicable across the city as well, so that we can get, GIS mapping on our city websites to where residents can actually come in and click and see exactly where they want to put their business or see exactly where they want to reside, just to make it a little bit more transparent for us? Would that be included in that?
No. No.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Brett Haynes. I'm with Falcon Design Consultants. Regarding those GIS services, Falcon Design is not only a full-scale engineering firm, but also we have full-scale surveying capabilities. That GIS mapping is something that can be correlated into the county's overall system. It could still be posted on the city's website, but it's more of a mapping system. It is not directly correlated to an ArcGIS or Esri program. If the city did have that, we could incorporate all of those point references into the system, but the city does not currently have that. So we can provide maps of anything in relation to the city, property, districts, zoning maps, things like that, as well as individual property boundaries. But it wouldn't be the system itself.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Mayor.
Yes, Mayor I'm gonna get a little sign. Councilwoman Messick.
It's fine. My only question was concerning the services. So this would just be kind of an on-call contract, and then you would present us an amount if we needed you to work on a project within the city, is that correct?
That is correct. The way the contract is currently worded, our firm offers multiple services, but currently as it stands, the way the contract has been written is there's no cost incurred by the city unless the city does reach out. So for engineering services, the city could reach out to a project, we provide a task order. If the city agrees to it, then we begin work. Same thing goes for some other aspects. There's also some revenue sharing that's not based off hourly. So, and again, there's no cost unless the city reaches out for us to provide those services.
Okay, you said there's no retainer involved in the contract.
That is correct.
Thank you.
And I also want to be clear, one of the things that's helpful is a lot of times we will have these applications that require something, and so we discussed how those fees will be built back to the applicant. And so that we're not paying more than what the applicant actually paid for the application for the service. Am I saying it right?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Council, are you all okay with this going to the consent agenda?
It's consent.
Thank you so very much. Next on the agenda.
Letter D, council to consider approval of a residential lease agreement for city-owned property at 173 Cloud Street, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30236, between the city of Jonesboro and Clifford Thompson.
All right, do you all see the attached agenda, lease? We don't have a date on it yet. We're still waiting on cabinets to be delivered. But the proposed rent was $1,250 with a repair improvement set aside of $300 monthly payment that would be used toward closing costs. I will tell you that Mr. Thompson attended the NACA full-day training and is well on his way to home ownership, and it looks like it's going to be a little shorter than that 12 months, but we're excited about that, and so is he. Can this go to the consent agenda? Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
The employment condition, I would assume that if it weren't legal, it wouldn't be in here, but it seems, is there any way that it could just be that it goes to market rate as opposed to automatically terminate and property must be vacated?
Yeah, and actually, you know what, thank you for reminding me of that. I would ask council that we strike that. I do feel like if we're doing affordable housing, it doesn't necessarily have to be contingent upon employment. The previous renter rented for $950 and didn't work for the city. So I don't feel like it should be actually a contingency upon employment, because the goal actually is for him to go into home ownership. And if at any point he goes into home ownership and gets a job that's making a lot more, I don't want to penalize him. So the whole idea is just to have affordable. So thank you for bringing me that up. So we will strike that item from, I would ask that we strike that item. Where is that in the actual lease?
It's section 3, Madam Mayor.
Is it section 3?
Yes.
Yes.
So strike section 3.
Yes, that there is no employment requirement. Thank you so much. We talked about that at the NACA. Is anybody opposed to that?
Not at all.
Okay. Can this go to, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, I was about to let that go. Can that item go to consent agenda?
With said changes, yep.
With said changes, thank you so much. We'll get you that modified copy in our new agenda packet. Next on the agenda, please.
Letter E, council to discuss the city's procurement policy.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor
I'm
and
sorry, give me
council.
1 second. Council, let me just start off by saying we're not asking for this to go to the consent agenda. We needed to, so it's just for discussion and for consideration next week. There you go.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The draft procurement policy before you was a result of funds received from the National League of Cities, Southern Cities Economic Initiative. So during phase 1, we were awarded $15,000, which is where the draft policy came from. And then from there, in December 2025, we were awarded $36,000, which got us to phase 2, which would be the implementation phase. And in order to implement the proposed draft, it is required to be adopted.
So council, we, again, not asking for adoption, but if you all, yes.
If you would like, Madam Mayor, I know it's in the interest of time, but we have a little presentation to go over, to do just a high-level overview
Okay,
of
great.
the provisions. I won't go through it and read it word for word, but it certainly will highlight the key points.
Okay,
if
thank
I
you
may.
so much. Go ahead.
I'll click. So let me just say that this is an excellent, excellent policy draft. It's really, really good. And it seeks to bring some clarity to what our internal processes are on how we handle procurements in the city. We have ordinances, we have in section 2-155 through 157, there is the actual procurement ordinance. This is the policy that will go alongside the ordinance. So should mayor and council want to approve this at next week's meeting, the policy, then we will have a revised ordinance that follows and tracks this policy, so they'll be aligned. I'm not gonna, so obviously this just establishes a framework for planning and sourcing, awarding and administering all city purchases, with the exception that if we have grant funding, those procurement processes will take precedence over this policy. We have again, the state statute has procurement provisions. Our city code sections 2-155 through 2-157, those will be modified to conform to this policy. And of course, this policy will be applicable to all city departments, offices, boards, commissions, and authorized agency using city funds. Again, who's covered? What's covered? All purchases of goods, services, and construction using city funds, any type of cooperative purchasing agreements, emergency procurements, and any type of federal, state, or private grant funding. So what's not included or subject to the procurement standards that we're discussing here? Sole source providers, if it's only one of something, and of course, anytime you have a sole source provider, there needs to be a supportive document to show that it really is a sole source. Any type of intergovernmental agreements, professional services, we just put on the agenda for next week, the engineering design services, your city attorney contract, those kind of professional services, architects, engineers are not subject to procurement requirements, and any type of documented emergency procurement. I think we just had some inclement weather that required us, the mayor, to declare a state of emergency, and if there was something that was needed in order to facilitate the safety, then those kind of procurements will be made on an emergency basis, and at the first opportunity, when we come back to a regular city council meeting, those will be ratified and adopted. What's wonderful about this this is a great policy, I just have to say, Madam Mayor, this is a really, really good policy. The ethics and conflict of interest standards, you can't have, conflicts of interest, bid rigging, you can't participate in decisions for which you have a financial conflict, or if you have a family member who may be involved in a contract or a proposal, then you have to step out. Now, conflicts of interest are not bad. I just want to say everybody has conflicts of interest, because when you all became elected officials, you had lives, and you still have lives. You know people, you have family. The thing that gets everyone in trouble with conflicts of interest is that they're not disclosed. You disclose the conflicts of interest. That's the thing that's the most important part of it. And once you disclose it, you have done your due diligence, and then you recuse. So I don't want everyone to think, oh, he has a conflict of interest, or she has a conflict of interest. That's not a problem. The disclosure of that conflict of interest is how you cure that issue. The failure to disclose is the problem, and that's where a lot of people get into trouble. So I won't read the definitions, but council members, when you'll go through here, you can see that the proposed policy gives very clear definitions of the different type of bidding processes and professional services and sole source purchase. There's an administrative structure that identifies every role: the mayor, the city manager, finance department, department directors, and the city attorney to review it all. One thing I would want to know that I think, Madam Mayor, that we need to provide something that, in the absence of a city manager, that the mayor serves in that capacity, because I know we don't currently have a city manager, so we don't want to be hamstrung by a personnel vacancy. One of the things
going back to that, we also discussed that the chief procurement officer could live in the finance department as well with appropriate training. That's one of the things that we discussed with the remaining, with additional funding. It does not have to live that high.
Correct.
It can live in the finance department.
Correct. Some jurisdictions, that's where their procurement is. Some have it separately, so it certainly will be in alignment with what the current practices are. This is a really important part of this. It's a tiered approach to the levels, purchasing levels and processes. So not every little thing needs to come to city council. So you have department heads who have a purchasing level 1, and anything under $2,500, they can use their P card or vendor account, submit receipt invoice. That doesn't mean that there doesn't have to be a PO, or there does not have to be supportive documentation. What it means is that department head can act to get things done. If they need to buy printer cartridges, because the printer, went out, they need to spend $800, then they won't have to wait until the next council meeting to come and get approval for that, because they need the printer cartridge. So this is very important, tier 1. Tier 2 is $2,500 and between $9,999. Okay, you have to have a purchase order. You can do state contract purchases. Sometimes the state of Georgia has these omnibus contracts that they have negotiating power that the local jurisdictions can benefit from, just because the sheer volume of the state and the width of the state, that they can have a better contract provision. I know cell phone services is one of them. AT&T and Verizon, the state has contracts, and it allows local jurisdictions such as Jonesboro to take advantage of that. We can get benefit from those additional rates. It says the approval in the proposal, Madam Mayor, said the department director and city council. I highlighted that because I'm not sure if that is accurate.
No, I think actually that was supposed to be city manager. Yeah, not city council.
Okay.
It goes to the, it's in the, if you look at the body of the, I think it kind of pushed over in the chart, but if you go to page, it's in the narrative, if you go to page, well, not page 8.1, informal, we're up on the
Yeah.
informal bids. Purchase between 2,500 and 10,000. If three quotations are three.
It's on page 9, to the
Yes.
purchasing levels, council members, page 9 of your handout has a chart there, and then this does. So you just know that anything between $2,500 and less than $10,000, you have to have a purchase order. You have to have at least 3 written bids and quotes, and you have to have the agreement approved by the department director, and it needs the counter signature of the city manager. So I call this the big bucks, anything from $10,000 to $50,000. This requires only the department director and city manager can approve it, but there has to be immediate notification to council of this approval, and that is done. I would recommend that, at some point we bring these forward and maybe just have it on the record to ratify them if council is notified, but it's going to be, record keeping is going to be really, really important to have a successful implementation of this policy. Anything that's $50,000 above requires city manager and city council must approve the contract. You have to, anything $50,000 and above, and also anything that's not in your annual budget, if it's an unbudgeted item, then those unbudgeted items have to come before council. So everything that I talked about before deals with budgeted resources that have already been budgeted. And so people are drawing down from those budgeted. If someone wants to go and buy a new laptop, but they didn't have it budgeted, or a set of laptop and it wasn't budgeted, that comes back before council, mayor and council, because no department head, no city manager has the authority to change your budget allocation. Once you all approve it, when we approve it on the 10th next week, that's written in stone, and only this body can amend or revise it. So here's everything we do is we public records. We hold them. When you get bids and proposals in, you can hold them until the award is made. So if someone is doing a bunch of RFPs, and competitors can't say, well, let me see what my competitors say. Let me get those. No, those things are held back, and the Open Records Act allows us to hold them back until the award is made or the award is rejected. So any kind of award that's any kind of bid that you put out there, you're not obligated to award it. You have the right to reject it. Splitting, this is something a lot of people get in trouble. So I told you all about the levels and tiers. So if something's going to be over $10,000, you can't split it out, and that's their level of authority for that department head. You can't say, well, let me just do two $5,000 to avoid it. That's splitting. You can't do that. You want to? Amendments and change orders. Hopefully we like to have some control over those, but the city manager has authority under this proposal to approve changes that are less than 5% or $2,500, whichever is less. And that's not including contingency. A contingency is something different than the change orders. So any increases that are greater than this will come back in the contract. If it's greater than $2,500, then of course you have to come back here and get this body's approval. There's I'm not sure what's happening. I don't know what's happening. Oh, I'll email this to you, Chief. I'll email to everyone. You need this? We're good? Everybody good?
Yeah, no, that's what I was moving.
Oh, you're moving, okay, all right. So there's a petty cash for anything less than $50. So employee you need to, I can't buy some pens, you need pens, $20, $30 for a bunch of pens. You can do it through the petty cash requisition. And here's when our city employees go to purchase things, we don't pay sales tax for things that we need for the city. So we should take that form, you can take that tax exempt form, give it to Home Depot, wherever we're going, Office Depot, Home Depot, Walmart. We don't pay sales tax for things that we need for use of in our government service. So we need to make certain that we're carrying that I know in some instances, you know, like Lowe's or Home Depot, some jurisdictions will have it on file in the office, and people just know, and they'll know that you're the city, and, you know, they'll charge sales tax. So purchase orders, we talked about those. Those are used, they're gonna be used to initiate anything over $2,500. We talked about what's exempt, professional services contracts or payroll, utilities, insurance and investments. Those things are, those items are exempt from purchase orders. Go back over that. We talked about sole source purchases. Whenever you say that we're not gonna put this out for competitive procurement because there's no one else in the entire world that makes this item, you gotta document that. You can't just say that. And a lot of a lot of vendors will say, I'm sole source. I'm saying, no, you're not really sole source. So if we're gonna have sole source where we're reducing competition, because the goal is for any governmental entity, we're supposed to get the best, most responsive price, not the Cadillac. We don't do Cadillacs. We get the best and most responsive. And so anytime you're limiting the competitive process for items that you're buying by saying it's a sole source, so we don't have to put it out for bid, you need to have strong documentation in your files to demonstrate that reason. Because again, this is taxpayer money, and if someone's claiming that they're sole source, and they're saying it's $1,000, but really if we put out the bid, there's somebody out there that could do it for $600, then we're not being good stewards of taxpayer money. All right, competitive bidding. This is all competitive bidding. We're gonna maximize, you know, you have to maximize the outreach when we're doing a newspaper, website, and there are all types of sources. I'm sure our finance department, purchasing knows the governmental websites in order to maximize exposure so you can get the best bids. Informal bids, anything between $2,500 and $50,000, those require the 3 written quotes, and they have to be documented in the file. So again, I have been in jurisdictions where you go to the file and you open it up, there's nothing there. So documentation, documentation, documentation is gonna be important. Okay, let's see. I talked a little bit about the emergency process, process. So if we have an emergency during partial or full activation of our emergency activation. I think we just had that. Chief was at the command center. I talked to him twice a few weeks ago. And so there may be something, we may have to get salt for the roads. I don't know. There could be something we need. We don't have time to go through any of these other processes because we have the need, and we have a public health, safety, welfare issue to take care of, and we're allowed to do that. But it does require us to come back at the earliest possible convenience and get it ratified so that there can be public transparency. I like this provision. It has a local vendor preference. That's sort of, I'm sorry, it's sort of, I don't know if you might want to move it up a little bit. Section 11, it sort of gives sort of favorability to our local vendors, or if they come in within 5% of the bid. I've seen that in other jurisdictions. That works wonderful. That works wonders, and it gives our homegrown folks an opportunity to partake in city contracting opportunities. Okay, this also has a P card. This is so good. This is really, so P cards. So when you're going to be using P cards in some of these low-level purchases, there's a P card statute under state law, and you have to, there's a form we have to sign, Madam Mayor. I'm not sure if we're doing it, but you can't, there's restrictions, and you have to, under oath, and say you're going to use it the way it's supposed to be used. You're not going to go and buy, margaritas and Mexican dinners, but you're only using it. And so we'll make certain that we get that in the system so that everyone who has a P card, they have to sign that and get the annual training. I think we may be able to do it biannual for the training to make sure everyone's under no illusion about the limitations on their use of P cards. That's a privilege, it's not a right. And that's it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much.
Can
you send a copy of that or send it to the?
Yes.
And again, I want to thank Ms. Sakuta and some previous staff that worked really hard on this procurement policies. If y'all have additional questions, I'll ask you all to put it in writing by noon on Wednesday so we can have time to consult with the consultant that worked with us to help us modify. Any questions or anything?
Can we ask a quick question right now?
Yes, go
Maybe
ahead.
she can answer. What happens in the absence of a city manager?
Yeah, I think that we're gonna have to make some provisions of that in the actual ordinance, that in the 2155-3157. I'm assuming it will be the mayor, since that position is the CEO of the city. It seems like, and then the city manager, under our constitutional charter, the city manager is under the mayor. So I guess in the absence of a city manager, it would be the mayor who would be doing the things that the city manager would normally do. That certainly seems like the most logical replacement to me, but this body can decide otherwise.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Again, thank y'all so much. Please look through this. This is long overdue for us, and get back with me and our copy of Ms. Sakuta so that we can speak with the consultant so that we can get this approved next week. Next on the agenda.
Letter F, council to consider approval of a contract between Luminary Media Works and the City of Jonesboro, Georgia regarding audiovisual and live streaming services for Jonesboro Youth City Government meetings.
All right, so I've already reviewed this with Tran. I think it's been approved by Councilman Dixon. Can this go to the consent agenda?
It's consent for me.
All right, so it's on the consent. All right, this time I entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So made.
We do need to go in, don't we? Do we need to go in? Yeah, we do. Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
For litigation.
For the purposes of litigation, and that's it.
Litigation, real estate, and personnel, just to cover
All
all bases.
right. There's a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We're now in executive session. Wait, y'all, let me finish. Motion to reconvene into regular session.
So made.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are now in executive session, the regular session. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve executive session affidavit. Motion to approve. Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. I now make a motion to approve executive session minutes.
So made.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. At this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now adjourned.